tonight is a new session that we have introduced in the mentor program for the first time this year. And it's been done for a couple of reasons. One, I'll be completely honest with you, I've taken a year off from Tourism Australia to do something different, and part of that was doing a life coaching course. And this is an idea I had, so you're kind of my test bunnies, because I'd love to take this out to more of the industry and to students finishing university, whether they're in tourism or not. So this is brand new. At midnight last night I was like, no, I've got to change that, I've got to do this first. So I'd love your feedback as to whether you thought this was worthwhile. If bits were crap, please tell me. I'd love your honest, open feedback. But it has come from speaking really, I guess, to a lot of YATEC members over the past 2 years. I've probably had about maybe 50 to 70 coffees with different people. And it's always been about where they're at with their career. And 9 times out of 10, everybody's talking about the same issues. And I don't actually think we ever really get the opportunity to sit as a group at our level and talk about what some of our issues are, what our frustrations are, why it is we don't quite know what to do for the next step and things like that. So this is really going to be a session for all of you. I'm facilitating it, but it's not you listening to me. It's actually you all coming up with things for one another, and also setting a bit of a goal for yourself as well. Like I don't think, and I'd love to hear your feedback if you don't agree with me, but I don't really feel this is an industry where you come out of a degree like accounting and you start in a graduate program and they say year 1 is this, year 2 is this, year 3 is this, and year 5. We don't really work that way. And from my experience now being in the industry for 7 or 8 years, I think there's a lot about what we actually do for ourselves that determines how successful we are. And I don't necessarily just mean what degree and what knowledge that we have, but also how engaged we are about whether we're enjoying what we're doing and where it is that we want to see ourselves going. And what we've done this year is, brought in a whole lot of speakers from a lot of different parts of the industry to give you some ideas of what you can be doing. And I think you'd probably say from hearing everybody's career path that everybody's got a different story to tell of how they, how they got to where they are, from managing directors to, sales and marketing managers that are doing sales trips around the world to parts of Europe and America. So there's so much you can really be doing. And I think probably sometimes that's the problem, that we've got too much choice. And it's like, do I want to travel? Do I want to stay here and buy a house? Do I want a job with a bit more money, but that means it's going to be fun? I'd love to manage a team, but I'm not sure if I could do it. All these sort of things are, I guess, questions that we're asking. So today is a day to really put a goal out there, say whether it's 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, of something that you think you would love to be doing, whether it's your own business. You don't even have to know what that business is yet today. That's not really the point. But I did an exercise like this probably 3 years ago now, and all I'd said was on this day that, right, I want to sort of have this much money in the bank, I want to be earning this amount, I want to be in this country with this person, and and I've sort of had that in the back of my mind for the past 3 years. And I'll be honest, that day hasn't come yet. But what it did do, it set, a place of where I thought I wanted to get to. And the people that I've met, and because I've always had that in the back of my mind, has made me ask questions. And it's meeting those people that's gotten me jobs. Like literally, not that I want to make this all about me, but just a quick example. I went overseas for 3 months and came back and spoke to an old friend on the phone and said, I'm looking for a job in the industry. She literally walked past somebody that day who said, I'm looking for somebody, do you know anybody who could start tomorrow? And then I started the next week. And I just feel like our industry is full of people and different businesses looking for opportunities, that if we're asking the right questions to the right people, it sort of helps you get further along the way. So with that in mind, we're going to do some creative brainstorming, and I tried this with a group of 5 to 10-year-olds on Sunday and they loved it. So I'm almost going to ask everybody out there to be a bit kid-like today with what you come up with. They came up with some great things that they wanted to do with their life, and honestly, it kind of puts it in perspective that I think they're going to be doing some amazing things when they start being the leaders of this world. And really, the main thing that I took away from that you just had to instill in them was that you could actually do this. And it's the people around them as they grow up that's going to be like, oh, you can't do that, don't be silly. And it's those sort of things that actually squash those dreams. And I think as adults we sort of get into jobs, and a lot of the time we've had these things that we want to do, but it's been like, well, no, you'd have to go out and get a job or make money, and we just sort of lose sight of the fact that there are some really good things we'd love to do. And I think this industry is full of opportunity. So today is about coming up with your place that you'd like to be in perhaps 1, 2, 3 or 5 years' time. So if you think about it in terms of, we're just going to do a whole idea of what do I want to be doing in 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time. And you, as I said, you might not necessarily know that yet in terms of the how or the details, but we're just going to paint a picture to say, if I could be somewhere in 3 years' time, am I overseas? How much money am I earning? Just to pull out some bits of what you think you might like to have as part of you. I'm not necessarily saying you need to have the company worked out or the job title worked out or anything like that, but just the elements of what you think would be making you happy in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time. And just before I go on to say how we're going to do that, I don't know, a lot of the life coach training that I've done, they talk about sort of 2 ways of thinking, 2 parts of the brain that you really work with. And the first part is, I guess, what you learn through life. So, you know, you're looking at a situation today and you go, right, last time I made this decision a year ago, 2 years ago, I got this outcome. Therefore, that's the same outcome I'm going to get if I try this again today, or I won't do it that way because that was what I learnt last time. And it's almost like you're making decisions on something that's happening right now based on what happened yesterday. And then there's the other part of your brain, which is the more creative, more intuitive side, where, you know, if it happens where you go, I really need to call that person, or I really want to speak to that person, and then all of a sudden they call, or you know, you find them and you're walking down the street and you go, oh, wow, I was just thinking about you today, that's really weird. And that's almost the part of you that's creating your situations in your life. And that's where I want to start with us today, is that we all have this ability to, through thinking things, through writing things down, through asking the right questions, to really create where it is that we want to go. How does that sound? Yeah? Okay. So I'll just ask the question first. Who has a vague idea of a place that they might like to be going with their career over the next 3 to 5 years? A few things. Who is a bit, I'm stuck in this job, really don't know where I'm going or what I want to do after this year? Okay, yeah, please be honest here, because you'll notice you're not, you know, this is really actually quite common. And who has done goals, they've set expectations, they know exactly where they want to go? Yeah, okay. And well, that's what today is all about. We never actually take the time to stop really and go, where is it I actually want to be going? So this is what we're going to be doing here today. So with that in mind, who here knows what they're passionate about in life? Yeah? Couple? How many of us are passionate about what we're doing in our jobs? Great. Okay. That's a great place to start. And I'd say that's probably where we're going to start right now. So again, what I'm going to ask you to do is either eyes closed or eyes open, whatever's going to be easiest for you, and just take a few deep breaths in for a moment.